In brand strategy, you start off with what are the physical attributes of what it is that you produce, whether that's a product or whether it's service. What is the thing, right? What are you delivering? And then as soon as you establish what that is, you have to start thinking about what is the functional benefit? What is the benefit that the end user is going to be getting from this? Those are the first kind of two stages of doing business. You have to figure out what your product or service is, what that value proposition, what that value is that you're delivering to your customer, and what we call in the industry, their need state. What do they need? What's that need that they have that needs to be fulfilled? As soon as you start fulfilling that need with your product or service, with its functional benefits, you start thinking about what are the emotional benefits of that product or service. What are they getting out of it at an emotional level? Because as you build any company, or as you start thinking about building your brand or that brand affinity, you have to start thinking about what are the emotional what's the emotional benefits? What's the emotional resonance that you are starting to create in your customers? And then as that moves up the ladder, you start to think about how does that translate to my brand's personality? What is my brand's voice? What is my brand's, how do we go to market? What do we look like? What do we sound like? What do we act like? Those are the sorts of things that start to establish what your brand is. And when I counsel entrepreneurs, it's important to put a stake in the ground to say, this is what I'm planning on doing. This is the sort of culture and emotional benefit and connection, authentic connection that I'm looking to make with my customers, and to be super planful about that. Because if you just go out and let your brand establish itself, or you just put your product out there and let people, experience it the way they will, they're going to build your brand for you. And you really want to have a little more influence on what you're intending to do than just letting the market determine who you are. Understood that, especially in the software industry where the idea of minimum viable product was birthed, is that you put a product out into the world and it's half-baked. And as users use it and find out what they really like about it, or what the feature of it is that's the most important thing to them, you iterate and build and change and kind of craft it into the thing that's going to service them the best. But by the same token, when you go out of the gate, when you launch into the market, you have to have some sort of level of understanding and intent on what you want to deliver, even if you are opening it up to the market to help inform what you evolve into, essentially. Part of this, Sven, relates directly to brand strategy, and the fact that when you do brand strategy, you try to establish a brand personality. And that is a brand tone of voice, a brand look and feel. What are the human characteristics of a company, of a brand, that a user, a consumer, can relate to on a personal level, on a human level? Because that's when you start to make that really close, kind of tribe-like, cult-like connection between a brand, an inanimate company, and a human being. You have to start kind of fostering a human personality to a brand so people can relate to it. And that's essentially what you're doing by becoming visible as the owner, is you are establishing a real human, personality, vision, style to your brand, which makes it easier for people to relate to.